Get ready, boys. And strap one on. You're listening to Pedal to the Metal with Eroica and Heil68. All right, welcome, System Wars, to another edition of Pedal to the Metal. Your host, Heil68 here. Welcome to you all, along with our co-host of Pedal to the Metal, The Eroica.
Hello, everyone. We'd always, as always, like to remind you that if you'd like to be on the Pedal to the Metal podcast, or you just want to chat in our sticky right in the System Wars forum, please feel free to do so and contact myself, The Eroica, or Heil68 at any time you want.
That's right. And we also have two guests for tonight. We have returning guests, both of them actually. We have Animal-Mother. What's up, Animal?
Hello, System Wars. How are you today? A little glass of scotch keeps the bowl running.
Well, we have the edit button like on Fastkey for Animal's edit, so we're good to go with him.
I was going to say dick sticks, extra dicks.
Yeah, just like that. There'll be a frog chirp in there. Who's our next guest, Eroica?
We're also here today with another returning guest, one who lit up the scene in his first podcast, which was all about the sheep. We are here today not with Drops of Jupiter, but we are here today with Charizard.
Charizard? I thought he retired.
Came back.
He came back.
Well, Drops of Jupiter isn't level 10 yet. I need to make me fit somehow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Today's show, we're going to talk about handheld gaming versus mobile gaming. We're going to talk about, see if mobile gaming is going to overtake the handhelds, and if handhelds can survive the onslaught of the seemingly juggernaut mobile market. So I think we'll start off with Eroica and see what he has to say.
You know, I think that handhelds and mobile gaming have kind of reached this crossroads where I think any gamer has to ask the question: Is the industry big enough for both of them? Is one going to go away? Are they going to both survive on their own, niche groups of consumers? For me, I don't really reject mobile gaming as much as I think a lot of gamers do. I think there's a lot of potential there. I think there's a lot of interesting ideas coming out of mobile gaming. I do think that the games are too simplistic at this point to be considered really deep experiences that we're used to on console and on many handheld games. But I don't know. Charizard and I were talking earlier today about this, and he's got a lot of good ideas on it, and I don't want to steal any of his thunder, so I'm going to pass things to him. But for me, I think that the future of mobile gaming centers around showing a way to be innovative in a gameplay experience and to show depth. And I think that's going to happen naturally as these products get stronger and more capable. I think we're going to see deeper experiences in mobile gaming, and it might actually force handhelds out of this industry. I don't know. What do you think, Charizard?
Well, I mean, I'm going to disregard that last part for now, but first, speaking about deep mobile experiences, have any of you played Game Dev Story?
I have not.
Wow. What game?
Game Dev Story.
No,
It's
I haven't.
a really cool iOS and Android game. It's a simulator. You have your own gaming company. You develop games. You can develop consoles. You run your own business, publish a business. And it's actually really deep. It's surprising how deep it is. And like the first time I played it, I think I had to charge my iPod like 3 times that day simply because I couldn't stop playing it. It's completely addictive. It's unparalleled in how deep it is. It's the deepest game on like mobile phones that I've played yet. So as far as depth goes, there are certain types of genres that can be done on these. Like for example, a city building sim, a proper city building sim could be done on mobile phones right now as they are. But people are too busy chasing premium models, have the players pay for everything, like unlock buildings by paying $5 and stuff. That's the reason we haven't seen anything yet. But as they exist, there's an infrastructure right now that could properly support deep games on mobile phones. Having said that, though, I was having this discussion with the Eroica earlier today, and I was saying that I honestly don't think that smartphones will drive out handhelds from the market. I did say that I think that the handheld market isn't big enough to support 2 viable handhelds anymore. I do stand by that. But
so you think the 3DS is going? Nintendo's going to quit making handhelds then?
Oh no,
They'll
Nintendo.
never.
Well, there's
they'll
only
never
room for
quit.
one. We know Sony's not going anywhere.
Oh, there it is.
Thank you, Sony.
He's got it. He's got the spirit.
Sony domination continuation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but no. As far as the handle market is concerned, I was saying. I mean, I would kind of look at it as an analogy of PCs and consoles. Smartphones are PCs, and handhelds are consoles. And whereas the market for handhelds has shrunk from the DS era, the DS era was a bubble, and it's shrunk from that. But we're going to see that it's at least as big as the Game Boy Advance era, probably slightly bigger. And we're going to see in the end that at least, okay, here's the thing. Right now, I think the handheld market is Nintendo. As much as there are people out there who probably wouldn't want to admit this, there isn't enough of a market for something like the Vita to be viable. Smaller demographic.
I'm going to jump in and say that Nintendo might not stop making handhelds, but handhelds are on their way out. The market is shrinking for them. They're too expensive, and something we all acquire sometime in our lifetime is a phone. A 3DS or a Vita is something that we don't have to have
But
necessarily. It's not essential to at least the Western way of life, but even in Europe, wherever else, everyone has a cell phone. Not everybody has the money, especially in this kind of economy, to spend, $200 on a 3DS plus a game plus whatever else they're going to buy. I think, and I'm looking at a list here: cumulative unit sales of gaming devices by generations in million, and the iOS devices are just off the charts.
But two things actually I'd like to say here. I'm sorry,
But I have a question. Do you have a cell phone, Charizard?
yeah.
I have a cell phone. Hale, do you have a cell phone?
Yeah, I got a smartphone. Yep.
Eroica?
Yep, smartphone, Android.
What kind of? Oh, you have an Android. Hale, what kind of cell phone do you have?
I have an iPhone.
Charizard, what kind of phone do you have?
It's an Android.
Okay, we all have smartphones with app stores. I'm going to say more than 50% of the population is either going to have an Android or an iPhone. As plain and simple as that. I think the market is shrinking, and over the next 5 or 6 years, we'll see an even smaller market. I mean, Nintendo had to cut the price of the 3DS within 6 months to support the damn system.
Now, I do have certain retorts, counter arguments, I guess.
But is that true? Nintendo had to cut the price within 6 months to support the system because it wasn't meeting their sales expectations.
That was their own goals, though,
Because
wasn't
it was also overpriced to begin with.
Yeah.
No handheld has ever sold for $250, even in the pre-smartphone era. No
But
handheld.
it's still overpriced to begin with. $200 for a 3DS is kind of expensive, especially when you have a cell phone and you can buy a game for 99 cents.
Well, that's definitely a good point. That your entry level to get into this handheld market, this dedicated handheld market, is going to run you around $200, and you're paying upwards of $40 for a game. Where a cell phone, it's like I need the cell phone, and the apps are 99 cents.
Yeah, but I think the number one reason why I think the handhelds will stay around for a while is because
they're dedicated
most
machines.
core and hardcore gamers are still against mobile gaming and lack of physical controls.
Well, I think they'll be around for a while. I just think the market is shrinking. I mean, and Eroica, you talk about entry costs. It's not $200, it's $240 plus tax.
Right.
Okay, actually, there's one really important thing we all forget when we discuss this. Whereas, yes, it's true that, so it's expensive to go and buy a handheld, and then it's expensive to buy games for it. Even though both Sony and Nintendo now have the digital stores with cheaper games, essentially it's expensive to support your gaming habits on a handheld compared to on a smartphone. But what we're forgetting is there are games on these handhelds that you will not ever get on smartphones. You will never find Pokemon on a smartphone.
Never say never. Never
Also,
say never.
I think another point is the games available, especially for Nintendo. I mean, they're better games, and they provide, I think, more unique gaming experiences. And
Well,
they're exclusive to the hardware.
They're more of a core experience.
Yeah,
so
those games are more traditional.
You're going to get a longer traditional experience.
As I was saying earlier, to the Eroica actually, what I was saying was, anytime somebody brings up to me the question of the viability of a Nintendo handheld, I say one word. That's Pokemon, essentially. As long as Pokemon exists, a Nintendo handheld will not fail. I mean, it doesn't matter because kids will want to play the new Pokemon game. Parents will buy them the 3DS and just Pokemon. I mean, the software attached to it might be horrible, but the handheld will sell.
I do think that you did hit the nail on the head when you said kids, and I'm not trying to bring up a cliche about Nintendo, but something that I know we've spoken about before is the attraction that the Nintendo handhelds have to the younger demographics and the games that they make. And maybe I'm tying kind of what you said into this overarching point that Nintendo has a very legitimate stronghold on the, how do I say it, pre-smartphone adopters.
Yes.
Children, young teens, whatever, people who might not have a cell phone yet. There's definitely, I mean, I know I have 2 young children myself, and when I go to their sporting events or I go to some type of function where there's other children, you look around and what you see is Nintendo DS after Nintendo DS after Nintendo DS across the whole group of people. And so to that point, I think Charizard is right in a way where as long as Nintendo possesses these franchises that are going to appeal to that certain demographic, there will always be some type of a market for Nintendo handhelds.
All right, I have a quick question, and I know. Listen, I own a 3DS. I love the system. I plan on picking up Luigi's Mansion 2, or Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. I played Revelations, and it got me into a lot of the old 3DS games. But I have a question for any of those who have kids out there, and it has a product that says may harm children under 6 or may harm children under 10 with the 3D. Are parents really going to buy that for a kid?
You can disable it.
What?
3D
I never said that, but because of that, the newer market is shrinking. Because when there's a product out there that has the potential to harm one of the most vital functions of a human body, eyesight, parents aren't going to go for it.
Animal, I think that's, and I'm speaking from experience, and I can't speak for the other millions of people that have picked up a 3DS for their child, but
and the millions of people listening to this podcast.
But, it's the 3D function on the 3DS, and I hope I'm not going to upset any of my sheepish friends, but I can't even tell you the last times my kids even had any interest in turning the 3D effect on the 3DS. They're more interested in the games themselves rather than the visual effect. And I'm not going to call the 3D effect a gimmick. I think that there's actually a lot of really neat Super Mario. Was it Super Mario Land 2? Was that the
3D Land? Actually,
3D Land. 3D Land.
Yeah.
That game had a very, very interesting appeal to it because of the 3D. But to answer your question, Animal, I think that's actually a non-factor. I really don't think that we got parents in this country, in this world, that are buying their 8, 9, 10-year-old kids Call of Duty games. You really think that parents are paying that close attention?
Me very much.
I agree.
There's also one really important factor we're forgetting, which is that for the first year, when 3DS wasn't selling, by the way, that's incidental. Nintendo was focusing all its marketing efforts on the 3D gimmick. And I do call it a gimmick, actually. I think it's useless. I mean, I think it's cool, but it's useless. Now, the first year, Nintendo was actually just focusing all its advertising on the 3D effect. And eventually they realized there's no point. And now they don't focus on the 3D. They focus on the games. They focus on the other features, like the apps and the other functionality that it has.
The big challenge is, though, is to get the developers, the big developers, on board. I think we're seeing that finally. Blizzard just announced their
Blizzard. It's a card game,
and that looks pretty cool. I might try that for the iPad. And of course, we have Epic making Infinity Blade, EA and Activision on board. So when you notice those guys, those multi-billion-dollar companies,
EA's on board with Nintendo.
No.
Mobile gaming.
Yes.
I have a question for you guys. Oh, I'm sorry. Heil, did you want to finish?
No, I'm just saying when you see those big guys making games for the mobile market, it's serious. They're not going to put money and effort and time and energy into something that they think is not worth it.
There is one really important thing to consider here, which is that all the developers you named were Western. Japanese developers are still putting all the weight behind the 3DS and the Vita.
And it's showing positive results because
the 3DS has Shin Megami Tensei and Etrian Odyssey and its Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest, and you're not getting that on your iPad or iOS or anything.
Right.
Well, Final Fantasy, I can make a legitimate argument because Squeenix is starting to finally, they're porting over a lot of stuff. So, I mean, new games, no. Older games, yeah. I mean, within 5 years that's. I mean, when we have the newest tablets, when we have the iPad Infinity or whatever the fuck it's going to be called, I wouldn't be surprised to see Squeenix, to see Final Fantasy, 10 or 10 or 12 on one of those tablets in the next 5 years. I mean, look at it. We have cell phones that can run Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, whatever.
But when the iPad is running Final Fantasy 10 or 12, the 3DS or 4DS and PlayStation PS.
What's it gonna offer? Smell-o-vision?
Actually, I don't even know.
All right, so we got to pay some bills. We'll be back right after these messages. No games got you down? Wish you had something to play? Lost without core games? Well, Lord Baby Cause has answered your prayers. That's right. With Sony, you never have to worry about being gameless. Oh no, that cause has been blessed us with a barn-bursting amount of godly exclusives. Can I hear an amen? And now, the good news keeps getting better. Oh yes, I say the good news keeps getting better. The second coming of Christ is coming in the form of the PS4. That's right. Come all ye to the PS4 to find salvation and redemption. We all know PS4 was a go. Locked and loaded. I say we all knew the PS4 was a go. Locked and loaded. But February 20th was Rapture, and the gates of heaven opened up and the PS4 was revealed. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Sony and the sweet baby Cause, that sweet 8-pound, 6-ounce golden diaper wearing Cause, for making it possible. I'd also like to thank my hot PS3 and its righteous smoking hot PS2. For us Sony believers will always know games. I say, us Sony believers will always know games. Hallelujah! Thank you, Sony.
Question for you guys. I want to talk about the motivation behind handheld gaming. Now, obviously, there's the easy, answer to say there's just great games on handheld, so why not handheld game? But I'm only going to speak from my own experience. I got a Game Boy when it first came out when I was a kid. That was my first introduction to handheld gaming. I didn't buy another handheld until the DS, and the only reason I bought the DS was because I was fortunate enough to get to travel across the country for a summer, and I needed something to occupy my time on the multiple planes I was taking. So that's kind of what got me into mobile gaming. And since I was done with that, I really haven't gone back since that summer. I haven't really dove into handheld gaming any further. I have 3DSs in my house. I have a DS in my house. And quite frankly, I don't really use them all that much. My question is when do you guys mobile or handheld game?
Charizard, you first.
I've actually kind of always made this clear, but I'm more of a handheld gamer than a console gamer. I game on my handhelds more than I do on my consoles, so my answer would be pretty much all the time. The reason is simple, of course. Like, one is, like, as you said, it's a cop-out, but it's true. Most of the games I want are on the handhelds. As to why this is, it's because this also goes back to a discussion we were having. We had this the last time I was on. We were having this earlier today, which was I prefer a focus on gameplay. I really like a focus on gameplay. I like mechanical depth, intricacy, and I like value for my money and all that. Mm-hmm. Console gaming is increasingly being reduced to games trying to be movies. You have 6-hour-long cinematic linear campaigns, and then you have a tagged on, copy-pasted Call of Duty style multiplayer mode, and that's all that it is. And then, of course, we have all those online passes and day one deals, all that crap. That's still there. You don't have any of that on handhelds. Like, it's still, what do I call it, pure. It's the Super Nintendo, PlayStation 1 era of gaming.
Can't remember last time I seen someone playing a handheld out in the wild. What about you guys?
Well, that was the heart of what I was getting to, is that for me, the only option I have, I feel like in the busyness of my life and the things that I do on a day-to-day basis, mobile gaming is like the thing that I do when I'm at the DMV waiting for my number to get called.
Is that a lot different, you think, in Japan, where public transportation is?
Well, gaming is a very private experience in Japan. So, I mean, they don't play a lot of online. They don't make a lot of online games. So, I mean, and it's a more focused country towards gaming. So it's not stereotyped over there. Whereas they stick with what makes them happy. At least here in America, we go with the trends.
Yeah.
You have the mobile gaming, and I'm not saying that I don't see people playing. I've seen one or two. I mean, I've seen one or two people on campus. I go to college. I've seen them playing. I've seen them playing 3DS. And that's it. But one or two people, as opposed to, if it was the mid '90s, you'd see everybody with a Game Boy playing Pokemon.
Actually, about that, so when I got here, the first time I got on my college campus, it was in 2010, and that was a few months after the release of Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver. And everybody was walking around with DSs, everybody was playing Pokemon. I'm fully expecting, because even right now, like, every day I have at least 5 or 6 Street Pass tags. If I take my 3DS out with me, I get 5 or 6 Street Pass tags. So I'm expecting when Pokemon releases, we're going to see a lot of that again.
I don't think those numbers will increase at all. I don't think you'll see increased numbers. The people who have, you have a cutoff. You have the people who want it at launch. You have the people who have bought it because more games have come out, and you have the people who buy it for Pokemon. I don't think you'll really see a heavy numbers increase.
I think you will.
I don't think so.
I think you're underestimating the power of Pokemon here.
I'm not. Trust me, Charizard. I live in New York. I've seen a lot of shit. I've been through a bunch of shit. And I'm going hard.
I actually killed a man once.
That's what I'm waiting for him to get.
I was actually I was robbed by 4 guys at once.
The legend of Animal-Mother gets better every day.
No, I was really mugged by 4 guys in Bed-Stuy. I don't think you'll see a big enough. I don't think you'll see increased sales, but for 1 or 2 months. But I don't think it'll explode like you think. It will.
Okay, let me make this pretty clear. The way I'm saying it is, it's not going to be sustained, and then we'll be back to business as it is right now.
Well, see what the problem is. The problem is you have all these generational Pokemon players arguing now. It's Gen 7 was better than Gen 8, or I mean, it's just you have all these fucking people fighting over what Pokemon or Pokemen are better.
What I'm saying is all the issues that you're naming, they're all like legitimate issues, but we need to realize they all existed before. Even before handheld gaming like exploded every time like around the release of a Pokemon game, and then people would you buy a Game Boy, you play Pokemon, and then it lies in your drawer unused for months, years, and then there's a new Pokemon, and then you pull it out. That's how it always was, and that's how it still is. Right now you're talking about seeing just 3 or 4 3DSs on campus. The thing is, the people who didn't buy a 3DS right now wouldn't have bought it even if smartphones didn't exist. They don't need it. They don't see a necessity. They'll see a necessity when Pokemon releases. They'll play Pokemon and then they'll put it away. And then they'll get it again when it releases. Pokemon, I mean.
I don't think I'll see an increased 3DS count because of Pokemon.
They'll say that no franchise in history has consistently sold as many systems as Pokemon has.
I'm not saying that. I know Pokemon is a very popular franchise. I'm not saying it doesn't sell, and I'm not saying it doesn't move systems. I'm just saying you see a minor increase. You see a minor, and like you said, it's just back to business as usual. I'm not saying I don't like the games. I have a 3DS.
But I'm saying that honestly, I agree with you in that it won't be a sustained bump, but I'm saying it'll be a bump. Nintendo cares about
absolutely. It'll be a nice bump.
And ultimately, I'm saying handheld gaming will survive because of bumps like this. Like as long as there's compelling software that you want, you have handhelds around. I mean, if you can only play Fire Emblem on a 3DS, you will buy a 3DS. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah, there's plenty you can do. I'd rather not talk about it, but
okay. Those don't exist for the 3DS right now. That's another cool thing. It's not been cracked so far.
What I wanted to do was to close up this conversation on handhelds is that I want to go around and I want to ask you guys kind of for a 30-second closing thought. And the way I'm going to do it is I want you to say at the end of your however long you want to take, up to 30 seconds, whether you think handheld gaming is domination or it's doomed. We're going to start with Heil68.
All right, well, I think the bottom line, I don't think it's doomed, but I think it's getting there. I think the bottom line is, considering the incredible growth of the mobile gaming's popularity, the scenario is something to be seriously considered. I think even Nintendo thinks of it as a threat. Although a lot of things have to fall in place for this to happen, portable gaming systems are definitely showing signs of their reaching their peak. They have, I think, for my personal opinion, for quite some time. I think there's going to be room for them both. I don't think it's going to totally go away, but I think that definitely mobile gaming is going to take a bigger bite out of Nintendo than I think people realize.
Animal-Mother?
I love handheld gaming. I've played a bunch of Pokemon. I love it. I think the market's shrinking. I don't want to say it's doomed, but it's slowly waning. And things things evolved. We've reached a singularity where tablets have come out, and I think that's it. I think we've hit the pinnacle of handheld gaming with tablets and iPhones, and I think while the handhelds will be along for a long while, they're going to fade away into obscurity at one point in time or another. Nintendo can operate in the black for another 20 years if they wanted to, because all the money they have. But I think it's a waning idea and concept.
Charizard?
I think they're gonna stick around, honestly. See, I always say this. Ultimately, a game system is about the games. The bottom line is games. As long as there's games you want to play on a system, you're going to go ahead and buy that system. Maybe you won't buy it for one. Maybe you won't buy it for two, for three. But when there's a stream of good games, you're going to go out and buy it. And ultimately, I think that's the reason handhelds will survive. I do think that smartphones will end up reducing the market size of handhelds than like it was. They'll end up reducing the size of the market from the 3DS era, I think, from the DS era, sorry. It won't be like 250 million units worldwide as it was. It's probably going to be closer to 100 million now. But they're going to be around. And I do agree with the comment that ultimately handhelds are going to fade away, but that's not going to be because of smartphones or anything. That's going to be because dedicated devices in general will fade away. We're going to see consoles fading away. We're going to see handhelds fading away. So I think as far as like the current trends are concerned, as far as like we are assuming that the market as it is right now continues to persist, handhelds are going to be around. They're not doomed. They're not dominating, but they're not doomed.
Yeah, and I think for my final thought, and I mean no disrespect when I say this to the legion of handheld gamers out there. I just think that through the course of man, I think that the way that we are as a species now doesn't leave much of a future for handheld gaming personally. I think that, and I can only relate it to myself and the environment that I live in and the people that I'm around, I see handheld gaming as being something that will ultimately survive by those who can't or have no access to smart devices, and I mean younger demographics. I think there will always be a niche for quality core experiences on handheld gaming, but I guess maybe we're all saying the same thing, where I think that handhelds are going to ultimately be swallowed up somewhat. I think they'll stay around for a while, but ultimately I think, and I don't even know that it's going to be smart devices that end up taking over. It could be something else we haven't even imagined yet, but I think that this is a legitimate downtrend.
I have a closing thing too. We're supposed to give a shout out to Freedom Freak here. He wants us all to say hi to him. So you guys all know Freedom Freak, don't you?
I love Freedom Freak.
How you doing, Freedom Freak? I just want to say hello, and I think that the fact that you brought back your original BioShock Infinite SIG just for the release week is top quality shit. So hello, man.
Charizard?
Hello, Freedom Freak. You're one of the best posters around, and it's always nice talking to you. So thanks for your SIG, by the way, you and pretty much everybody else who have suggestive signatures, because I'm sitting in classrooms and there's almost always a girl sitting behind me, and I'm like trying to hide those SIGs. I'm like, I swear I'm not on the porn site right now. And there's all these gifs of like bouncing boobs and like, oh god.
Can you handle it, Charizard? Can you handle the bouncing boobs?
Animal, would you like to say hi to Freedom Freak?
Hi, Freedom Freak. I love you.
I'd like to say hi, and you're pretty sexy there, Freedom Freak. I also have to block signatures at work because of you, so well done.
Well done. And I'm going to do a small shout out, man. I just want to say hi to Blabadon, because you know what? Dude has been making some really epic hype threads, and we haven't been giving him enough love on the show. We've talked about, I believe he did the God of War and the Gears of War one. Is that right?
Excellent threads.
He did Grand Theft Auto, but I don't think that one survived anymore.
Blabadon, I love you. We've talked a lot. I will tell you why you are the greatest GameSpot poster ever. You have a cat avatar from Gravity Rush. You have green text, and you have a Vita, and you have a Gravity Rush signature. So high five. You are one of Animal-Mother's favorite posters.
Wow, well, we need to get him on the show then.
Yeah. I know. Listen, anybody who's got a Gravity Rush avatar and asks why they're the greatest deserves to know. And Animal-Mother always has Blabadon.
So what if Final Star puts a Gravity Rush signature?
Oh, he can suck it.
Let's do one more Blabadon's questions, which, by the way, I want to say is a pretty cool thing that he took the time to write a few questions for us, knowing that we were going to do the podcast on Wednesday night. So I like that type of community response. So keep it up. Go ahead, Charizard.
Anyway, no, Blabadon Monster Hunter is not back, and you're a horrible person for not liking it.
See, here I am telling him he's great.
I mean, he's great and all, but he's a horrible person.
And you're just tearing him down.
Yeah.
Maybe he's had a bad week. Maybe she, them have had a bad week. I don't know, Blabadon. I don't know if you're a man or a woman.
All right. Well, we want to thank all of you out there in System Wars land for listening to another Pedal to the Metal podcast. I got to say that it is deeply, deeply touching to look at those that view count go up above 200 on a lot of those previous podcasts, and it really means a lot. I know to Heil and myself that you guys are digging what we're doing, and we want to say thank you real quick to Mr. Animal-Mother.
It's always a pleasure, guys. Thank you very much for having me on.
Yeah, I could be on again.
Once again. Oh, I will be. If you have beef with Animal-Mother, please let me know, and I will fight you in the ring.
We also want to say thank you to our other returning guest, Mr. Charizard.
Thank you for having me, and it's really a lot of fun being here, and I must say again, on the record now, this is probably the best thing to have come out of System Wars, and again, thank you for having me here.
That is certainly at legendary, and that means a lot to us, I know. And I want to turn it over for a nice closing comment from Mr. Heil68.
I'd like to thank you guys all for listening. If you guys like to be on the show, drop us a line, either Eroica or myself. Whoever signs up will be on the show.
See you guys.
Later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.